Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Apologies for the delay, technical difficulties. We hope all of you out there are enjoying the service. As long as the battery on my phone holds out, we will be golden. We're delighted you could join us. My name is Cantor du Jour. Rabbi, of course, is in Israel and hopefully watching us. Cantor, unfortunately, is under the weather, so you're stuck with me. But and one thing I do not enjoy is doing solos, so please sing along as much as you can. We'll start on page 16 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We'll let the heavens rejoice on page 24. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato, Sabru Bagoyim Kevodo Bechol Ha'amim, Nifleotav, Ki Gadol Adonai, Umhulal Me'od, No Rahu, Al Kol Elohim, Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai Dai Dai, Yai Dai Dai Dai, Yai Dai Dai Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai. We're we're going to skip right over to Lecha Dodi on page 38. First and last stanzas on this page, and then we'll jump to the next page. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'letiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla. Bottom stanza. Hitna ari me'afar kumi, Leave she bigdei tifartechami, Al yad ben yishai beit chalachmi, Karva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla. Top of page 40. Hit orari, Kiva ore, Kumi ori, Uri, Shirda beiri, Kivod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla. Next to the last. Yaminu smol tifrotzi, V'et Adonai ta'aritzi, Al yad ish ben partzi, V'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam b'simcha u'b'tzahala, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabla. Please be seated. I hope you'll forgive me if I share something I've shared before, but it resonates with me, and I hope it will with you too. Nick Cave, I don't know if you've heard of him, is an alternative punk rock star who's also a very talented and thoughtful writer. He receives lots of fan letters and publishes some of them, including some that reflect his own recovery from addiction and also how he's coped with the death of his 15-year-old son while rock climbing. So someone wrote in asking, in your mind, does God have a voice? And if so, is it a familiar one? Or does God make him, her, itself heard in other ways? So he wrote, I hope the voice of God would be something other than booming, authoritarian, and male. Wouldn't that be a pleasant surprise? How nice it would be if God's voice didn't sound like Nick Cave or Tom Waits or Morgan Freeman, for that matter. What a relief that would be. In the recording studio, when you multi-layer vocals, sometimes the more voices you lay down and the more varied they are, the more pure the tone of the chorus becomes, as all individuality is erased and a pristine collected sound flows forth. As you add more voices, a strange inverse reaction happens, and the smaller, more distilled, and weirdly intimate the cascade of voices seems to become. Perhaps that's what God sounds like. Perhaps God would have the combined voice of all the untold billions of people speaking as one without rancor, domination, or division. A great many-layered calling forth that rings from the heavens in the small, determined voice of a child, maybe, pure and uncomplicated, that says, "Look for me, I am here." Page 50, let's look for God with the blessings. On page 50, please rise for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Together, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, B'chochma Poteach She'arim, Uvitvuna Mishane Itim, Umachalif et Hazmanim, Umisader et HaKochavim B'mishmerotehem Barakia Kirtsono, Boreyom Valayla Golel Or Mipnei Choshech V'choshech Mipnei Or, Umar V'yom Umevi Laila, Umavdil Ben Yom Uvein Laila, Adonai Tzivaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam, Tamidim Loch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. Please be seated. 52, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu, B'shach beinu u'v'kumeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla v'havatecha al tasur mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavcha, u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha, Vishinantam livanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha ukatavtam al mizuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Continue on the middle of page 60. Umalchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'vnei Yisrael lachanu shira b'simcha rabav yamru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh nora tehilot osefele malchutcha ravanecha bokeam lifnei Moshe ze'eli anu v'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo mi'ad chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Let's turn to page 63. The top of the page, we'll read responsively. Help us, O God, to lie down in peace and awaken us to life on the morrow. May we always be guided by your good counsel, and thus our shelter in your tabernacle of peace. Shield us, we pray, against our foes, against disease, destruction, and sorrow. Strengthen us against the works of evil, and our steps. May we always sense your loving care, for you are our merciful God and sovereign. Praise to you, O God of peace, whose love is always with us. Ushmor tzeiteinu vo'enu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata v'ad olam ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha baruch ata Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. 64. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti li'olam, oti li'olam, oti li'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית olam. One more quick reading before we head into the Amidah, again from Nick Cave. Do I get guidance from prayer and meditation? The answer is certainly yes. After applying my full attention to whatever it is I'm praying about, I feel that I simply know how to proceed in a rightful way, one that causes the least harm to myself and to others. I feel less a victim of the endless self-defeating thoughts that can go on in my mind, and instead I feel a quietness and clarity of thought. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'olma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imeru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mivarach Le'alam Ulol Me'ol Maya Yitparach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shemei Dekudisha Parichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'olma v'imeru. Amen. Please rise for the Amidah. You can find the prayers pages 69 through 76 or your own individual meditations. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Please turn to page 80 for Vayechulu. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam, vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa, vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i, vayikadesh oto, kivo shavat mikol melachto, kivo shavat mikol melachto, asher bara Elohim, asher bara Elohim la'asod. We're going to put off Kiddush for the moment. We're going to do that at the end of the service when we can all gather at the other end of the chapel. Right now, it's time for a treat. Most of you already know Efrat from your travels to Israel and her travels here as well. She's been a part of the family for almost 2 decades now, right? Helping everybody just develop, a better appreciation and connection to Eretz Yisrael. And when Rabbi heard that she was coming over, he asked her if she wouldn't mind spending a few minutes talking to us about what's going on over there right now. And so without further ado, Efrat Brucha Haba'ah, welcome, and it's all yours.
I can see now. Wow, so that was a surprise. I don't even know where to start, actually.
Just stand here so they can see you.
I cannot hear my voice as it is. I'm maybe going to say that on October 7, I wasn't in Israel. And it's going to sound weird, but I think all of you know me, and so you're going to understand if I'm going to say that it took me about a week. Israel is the only country that you have rescue flight into the country in time of stress. It was crazy to get to Israel. I was actually accomplishing a dream, and I walked up in Malta on October 7 to a whole different reality. And jumping between literally Malta to Greece to in Greece, and eventually after a week I got home. I'm saying that you're going to understand when I say that, and only that there's something of a guilt feeling that I wasn't there on October 7. It's not that I could have done anything, it's not that I could have anything, but there's some sort of a feel of guilt. I know people that have been murdered. There are 2 kibbutzes over there that the organization, that thanks to them I'm here. It's a Christian evangelical, very Zionist organization that come to Israel already since 2015. I'm a member of that organization 2017. Every group that comes is for biblical and modern Israel. And we spent half a day in the surrounding of Gaza Strip, visiting mainly 2 main kibbutzes. And of course, immediately the question is what's going on over there, and it was really hard to tell. And one of the guides that we used to take was one of the first that was murdered in one of these communities. And I don't think there's anyone in Israel that don't know someone in some sort of way. I still have someone that taught me a lot about Holocaust Poland that is still kidnapped and he's in his 70s with his heart condition. We just hope that he's still okay and he's still there, Alex. We know that when the first round of hostages came back, they told us that he was still alive. But since then, who knows? There's no one that knows someone that got killed as a soldier or got injured. Hopefully tomorrow, I'm going to go to Philly to be with Israelis that do an evening of Israeli songs for a member of the community that her nephew got killed about a month ago. So it goes all around. In my family, thank God we're all okay. Though most of them lives in the north, so the only one that really been affected is the one that lives in the south of the Golan. He's the only one actually in reserve, my brother, so he's not in Gaza or Lebanon border, he's actually patrolling his own community. That they had few times siren and they had few rocket from Syria and Iraq falling next door to them, which is, I don't know how much people are aware to all the craziness that goes around. We are not talking about just Hamas, we are not talking about just Hezbollah, we're talking about Yemen, because when was the last war that Eilat got so many siren goes off because there were rockets flying towards them, which that is part of the whole craziness. The amazing and the beauty is really with, and I'm sure you kept tab of in Israel the 10-year month before the war, with all the demonstration that goes about whatever in the government. Whoever can explain that to me? Ben, maybe you can explain that to us. What the heck's going on? I cannot. Seriously, I think I know Israelis really could understand what the whole struggle is to the details, but all that got stopped and suddenly there's no left, there's no right, there's no religious, there's no secular, there's no ultra-Orthodox. It's like everyone pitching in, which is, I wish we could keep that. And it's amazing to Israel from the world, the amount of messages. I'm still answering people that send me messages in October and it's got lost on the way and to go back to them. So, and of course tourism, forget about it. That for God knows, only God knows till when. So it's really tough, it's really hard and amazing. I live just outside of Jerusalem. It's in a paradox way, Jerusalem is actually one of the quiet areas. We had 3 times only sirens compared to Tel Aviv that had for 2 months every night. It was kind of obvious that you get to a certain time, you're waiting for the siren to go off, and it's just crazy in that perspective. Most of Israelis at some point needed to run to a shelter. Too many dear friends in the reserve, and sometimes some of them in ages that they volunteer to the reserve, and it still goes, and it's to do a round of calls every week and figure it out who we forgot, which is not that easy. At the same time, we have an almost amazing army, which is in a paradox way. The soldiers said that it's easier to be in the reserve than to be at home. Because when you're in the reserve, A, you're surrounded with your friends, then B, you get the feeling of a sense of doing, and C, you don't hear the politics and the whole struggle that is outside. And come on, the two of you, the last time I saw you, it was you were wearing uniforms. Volunteering in the army. So it's just crazy how things turn from, what was it, May, June, between June and September, so October. There were times that really it was easy to drive on the roads because everyone were either in reserve or taking care or volunteering, and people didn't really get back to work the first month because there were no schools all around the country. It was really crazy. It seems to be that we're going back to a little bit more normality. People back to work, although half of the workers are still in reserve. I still have at least, from what I know, I have an uncle that have 9 kids. So 5 of them are still in reserve and 3 husbands still in reserve. Like the reserves start to go home, but it's really for a short time and we'll see. We don't really know where it goes. And everyone that people ask me, like, so when the end? And with all that's going on now with Hag, which I'm guessing about what happened today, you are more up to date than me. I still haven't had the chance to really sit and read, but it was just ridiculous to read the yesterday spoke of the South African representative, which is like, really? It's the same as Israel being boycotted just this year about 15 times. or not boycott, sanctions against Israel by the UN. 15, Hamas 0, Syria 1, Tunisia I think was 1. No one speaks about Russia, Ukraine, Ethiopia, Yemen, and Saudi, and so it's just this paradox. And so amazing was about 3 weeks ago to get a call from this organization if I'm willing to come to DC to a long weekend. Basically, they were supposed to bring 700 Christian students this winter to Israel. Of course, none of them came. And they really, after this visit, they're becoming our best friends. I truly believe, and I see the action later on. So they arranged for about 300 of them in DC a weekend, which was focusing on the Museum of the Bible. I don't know if many of you visited there. If not, do yourself a favor. Go there. It's just amazing. And the second was the Holocaust Museum, which over there, again, good reason to go. There's an amazing exhibit over there about United States and the Holocaust, following the TV show that was about a year ago, if any one of you watched, the USA and the Holocaust, which kept on going, and we were 3 tour guides that were invited over there. And all thing was to speak about these topics relate to Israel. And while they should come, the co-founders of the organization were there. We had the chance to speak. Just the only thing that I almost killed the education, kind of a person over there. He's a dear friend, but he gave them a whole debrief about Israel, to explain to them why we are not in Israel, why we're here, what happened since October 7, where you can get involved and help. But he got to very graphic descriptions, and we, the 3 Israelis, you saw us really turning between white to red to, I don't know which colors, and really to the point I just had to go to the corner, and then we had our panel, and so we looked at him as like, next time, fair warning. We don't need this. We have that enough. I have a colleague from Yad Vashem that she was one of the kidnappers. Thank God she's back. She was just interviewed recently as well for the media. It's amazing to see the strength of these people as well. So we still have about 20,000, I say to some of you, 20,000 Israelis evacuated from their home, from the north or from the south. There's still a lot to do. There's still a lot to go. And I will say that it's one of the times that I think the USA is really with us from day one. Because I remember when everything started, we were like, okay, how many days we gonna get? It was really like we were timing. How many days we gonna get? Because it took time to go into Gaza because we need to learn the material. You cannot just throw soldiers in. I think we learned as well about your mistake, right? After 9/11, you just flew them into Afghanistan and let's go. And so we took some time to learn the state, and we still like. A friend of mine told me, shared a story, so it's like second-hand read, but a group of soldiers were having a break after a really massive battle, and there's this religious or not, but one of them decided, okay, it's a time, I will take the opportunity to daven mincha. And he stood up and tried to figure out, okay, where the sun, where Jerusalem, and basically is to turn his back to the unit. The minute that he turned his back to start davening, a terrorist came out from a basically underground tunnel with a RPG in his hand, and that saved him. Because he's still with a gun, so he just, I guess, shot him and kept him with the davening. But in part, it's about that we see that it's just amazing. It's amazing was the request even for tefillin and tzitzit to go. Like you had these ultra-Orthodox that usually not really involved, like sitting in the yeshiva and they're just doing all the ties for tzitzit for soldiers to send it to the front. So where are we going to go from here? I don't know. The sad part a little bit that some people go back to the politic, and we see it, which means we go back to normalization of this crazy situation, which we hope not, but where, we don't know. I have to say that for me it was like, I was debating if to extend a little bit, and because it's not a vacation. I'm not in a set of mind of a vacation, but so when the rabbi asked me to talk, I'm like, yes. But I just went to visit family that not in the best wealth. So a representative from the Israeli branch to say to them hi and go home next week. But if anyone have any questions, it's going to be easier. Because really, yeah.
So most people completely lost confidence in Danielle.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say there's 2 things. One, the same, and that is part of the paradox. October 7, we commemorating 50 years for Yom Kippur War. And we are 50 years after, and every one of you, I don't know how it goes in the Israeli Hebrew newspapers, in the English, Israeli papers, but the Hebrew one for Yom Kippur are full still with article about Yom Kippur. Another file, another form, another letter. We're still dealing with what happened in Yom Kippur. I don't know how many years it's going to take us to really deal with this. Definitely is, and not by coincidence, and I'm sure you heard it as well, a lot of the words that were used, especially in the beginning, was Holocaust, or a pogrom, with another Churban. It really is Churban Abayit. It really is another third temple kind of a, and not by coincidence with all the atrocity that happened, no matter that it took the UN Women Organization 2 months to even say, we need to check if something happened there, really? Really? So no doubt that the leadership going to need to pay their whatever going to face, going to need to deal, they're going to, I'm not going to say court, but they're going to need to give answers. But we are not yet at the time to do this whole study. And I'm one of those that, I'm not saying that we have the ideal government, but to switch government in the midst of a war, it's a whole other story. I will say that Netanyahu is one of the best prime minister we ever had when it's get to international relationship. As a minister of foreign affairs, and that's how he started about 20-something, 30-something years ago, he was one of the best. He's English, he know how to speak the language. Agree to him or not agree, this is a different question. But he know how to play the game, and he knows, he's a politician, no doubt about. Compared to, if you take options of Lapid or Gallant or Gantz, whatever they are, it's a whole other story. So what's going to happen, I don't know. We definitely at some point going to go to election before the 4 years. They're already speaking about it. Look, we were supposed to have a municipality election on October 31. That been postponed and postponed and postponed, and so far postponed to February. Because some of the people that are running positions in the cities or regional are serving. Some of the people that are supposed to run for them or run them are serving. And not to speak about, not like a state. When we have the country of election, if you're a soldier on a reserve, you're entitled to vote on your base. Municipality, it's a different story, you're not. So we have a lot of people that cannot vote. And municipality elections is as well show politics support, because whoever you pick up for your mayor, according to which parties belong to. So that is well going to have some sort of a say. Now, it's never been a secret that Tel Aviv, sometimes people refer to it as the state of Tel Aviv. It's a little bit different mode. In the beginning, in a very tragic, I hate that, but there were even talk that in the beginning, there were no soldiers that fell from Tel Aviv, and Tel Aviv started to scream about Netanyahu, and people said, who do you think you are? Like, there are fallen soldiers from Tel Aviv, disproportionate actually to the amount of people that lives there, which is interesting by itself. People doing a whole this statistic now. I don't think there's a community in Israel that didn't lose someone. Where my parents live, on the first week, on Friday, we had 2 funerals on the same day. But you have small community that already lost 4 or 5 or 6 members. And you have cities that lost more than 20. And then you had Tel Aviv is 10, 15. It's just like the disproportion is as well, which, I don't know, I don't know to explain it, but the fact is that we have maybe 15% modern Orthodox religious in Israel, a little bit more than 40% of the soldiers that falling are modern Orthodox. And in the beginning of the war, there was a whole yelling that Judea, Samaria soldiers, because the army took soldiers over there, that's why it happened in Gaza, which we know that it's not. There were soldiers, no one would anticipate it. We really had faith in the new fence, in the new technology. I don't know how many of you have been in the last 10 years around the Gaza Strip. There was the whole see and shoot kind of so basically you activate it from a safe room, you have your cameras and you're shooting on target. They just fired anti-tank or anti-whatever on that tower and killed it. The way that they succeeded so easily to cross was shocking to everyone. We're talking about like the whole party that was over there that was kind of been butchered. I don't have any other word for what happened there in that day. So, and the tragic is it wasn't just Hamas. There were a lot of Gaza people participating. So a lot of Israelis, very much of a left wing, that were so for them, suddenly realized we don't know what we believe in anymore. Because it was the Gaza people that break into their community, the same Gaza people that had work permit and did a bit of the intelligence. They knew which house to target. They knew where is the head of the security of these communities. They had maps of each community and where to go and what to do. So someone had to give them the intel, and a lot of it came from Gaza people that work there. Threatened to do it or not, we don't really know. We're not going to know. But the fact that the people of Gaza participated in it, that was as well a bit of a shock. So, and that is another thing that Israel is going to need to deal with, because we have the whole Judea-Samaria, which was just so weird to say, but it was the morning here, it was last night in Israel, was another terror attack, shooting on in south of the Judea on Israeli cars. So the 3 terrorists were murdered, but they were killed, but there was a few injured as well. So we have this whole Judea Samaria that is from the beginning. I don't know how much you get news about that. That goes in Jenin and others. There were a few attempted terror attack in Jerusalem that thank God being stopped on time, but we just don't know. But one thing for sure, I know it's a home. And I will just say that as words of Golda Meir, the first war we're going to lose will be the last. So we cannot afford to lose. So I'm sure, I don't know what we do, but I'm sure you did. So thank you for the support. I'm sure you did in one way, and I know that some of you even drove to DC. So that is a lot as well. Any other? No? I'm going to see you at dinner. No. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. One thing you should know, and it may not be that apparent, the news a lot of times carries a lot of stories about the other side protests. What isn't always clear, especially to a lot of people outside of the States, is that a small group of people is getting an outsized amount of publicity and visibility. And that doesn't necessarily reflect what we in the States are all about.
Yeah, no, but you're going to need to do especially with some of you still with the kids, and some of you maybe soon is going to be right, I don't know, with colleges and what's going on there, because the one thing that we just had a meeting with one of the rabbi that she is in charge of the Hillel, had one of the Hillel, and she speak about that it's not anymore violent, it's not anymore verbal violence, it's physical violence, and too many students end up in hospitals. So in some campuses because they're Jews. And that is my concern over here, because I think that in Israel, at least I know I have the idea for the police and everything, I'm really worried about Jews abroad and how facing what's going on here, which is scary. Prayers for you as well, guys.
Oh, we do. We do, thank you. And we'll get to schmooze more afterwards, but thank you. It's a treat to have you here to begin with, even if what we hear is not the prettiest picture, but we need to know.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. With that, let's return to our Sidurim. We'll go right to, if I can find it myself, I believe it's page 118 for the Aleinu. Everybody will please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol atet gedula liotzer bereshit shelo asanu kigoye haratzot v'lo samanu kemishpachot adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu
Shehu note shamayim v'yosei haaretz, u'moshe v'yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo, b'gavhei meromim, hu Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efes ulato, kakatuv b'torato, v'yadata hayom, v'hashevota el levavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, b'shamayim mima'al, v'al ha'aretz, mitachat ein od. Okay, you may be seated. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom ahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, u'shemo echad. We're tonight observing the yahrzeits of Bessie Kaiser, Gertrude Fine, Rosalie Tankel, Joseph Fine, Marcia Mull, Edith Kaufman, Joseph Hofeld, Bernice Chabreau, Gilbert Levy, Betsy Shapey, Charles Dotsman, Lee Davidson, Carl Ballack, Mordechai Adar, Louis Weintraub, Francis Kirschner, Erwin Miller, Rosa Katz, Joseph Walenzik, Bella Schwartz, Bernard Davis, Ronald Bainbridge, Ronnie Schlesinger, Dolly Hirschberg, Sandra Borden, Mark Yaskin, Judith Sharp, Daniel Hirsch Eisman, Abraham Silverberg, Albert Meyerson, Solomon Zelmanovich, Reba Friedman, Harold Cutler, and Scott Schulman. And in the period of Shloshim, we remember the memory of Lillian Sharon. All those who are mourners, please rise for the Kaddish on page 124. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'olma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei chon uv'yomei chon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mivarach le'alam ul'olmei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran bi'olma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God who makes peace in the heaven grant peace unto us, unto all the mourners, to Israel and to all mankind, and let us say,
Amen. Looks like I'm doing the announcements too. We always have lots of stuff going on. Services, of course, tomorrow morning. The walking club, this Monday being Martin Luther King Day, there will be no walking club. Instead, we have the day of service here at the shul, starting at 10:30. It's open to all ages, and we hope for a good turnout. I understand there's a pretty good sign-up already for that, so I hope some of you can join in. Tuesday, Mahjong. Wednesday, the Janie Pearlstein Women's Studies Group will meet. Thursday is Canasta. And of course, services again next weekend. Trying to think what else. If you haven't bought your tickets already for Fiddler, it's going to be a great show. You'll notice some of the actors already have grown beards and set themselves up for their roles. It should be a great show. There's 6 performances starting in the middle of February. Tickets can be purchased online. I hope you'll all take advantage of it. Am I leaving anything out? Don't all answer at once? Well, what we'll do is we'll sing Adon Olam, and then we're all going to gather up there to do Kiddush together. But first, Adon Olam on page 128. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Na'asa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Imloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu Yihye B'tifara Ve'hu Yihye B'tifara Ve'hu Echad Ve'ein Sheni Leham Shilo Lehachbira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'hamisra Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'hamisra Ve'hu Eli Ve'chai Goali B'tzur Chevli Be'etzara Ve'hu Nisi Umanosli Minat Kosi B'yomekra Minat Kosi B'yomekra B'yado Afkid Ruchi Ve'ed Ishan Ve'a'ira Ve'im Ruchi Geviati Adonai li Ve'lo ira Adonai li Ve'lo ira. Everybody help yourselves to wine or grape juice. And then we'll all do Kiddush together. Everybody have? Everybody? Okay, please join Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesho, v'ahava u'brat
zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tefila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodeshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. Everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.